Thank you very much, Dr. James, and thank you, Dr. Krim. That background of the program, the network, the purpose, and the aspirations, I think, is really helpful as we launch into the activities over the next couple of days and really try to make a shift that you're going to hear over and over again, is really trying to keep a focus on the project that you're working towards, but shift the thinking towards a very collaborative we mentality. And I think that background was extremely helpful, so thank you so much. And I think the visuals really underscore the importance of that mission. Now I'd like to just give you a little bit of an overview of the National Coordination Hub, and my colleagues here will all be presenting different components of the work. The big question, so we all know what the alliances are doing. We all know what the DDLPs are doing. We know what the conferences are doing. But what is the Coordination Hub doing? So we wanted to answer that question for you, and it's okay. It's okay if you have that question. The goal of the Coordination Hub, I'm not sure what happened to the text. The goal of the Coordination Hub is really to bring together, yeah, this adds to the mystery, doesn't it? The goal of the Coordination Hub is to really tie together all the different types of activities, as Dr. James mentioned, communicate that shared vision, ensure that that's part of the work that's happening. That's not the only purpose of the work that's happening, but it's really to tie it all together, to provide supports to all the different projects that are happening. As Dr. Krim mentioned, this is a very different way of doing work. This is what he called an enabling idea. This is not the first broad participation funding that NSF has given or other federal agencies. It won't be the last, hopefully. And though what has been recognized is that it's often happened in an under-coordinated fashion. And so the Coordination Hub is really there to provide that infrastructure to ensure that there is coordination across all of these great efforts that are happening, and take all the work that's happening to scale, the learnings, the successes, and make those known nationally. And as I mentioned, it's really about doing this work differently. And so we need to execute differently in a much more coordinated way, and that's a lot of the responsibility that falls on the Coordination Hub. And as Dr. James also mentioned, there have been solicitations to grow the network. New alliances will be joining. New projects will get supplemental funding to start engaging in the Includes work. And as the network grows and expands, so does the complexity of the work that's being done. And as the network grows, so does the need for infrastructure and support. And that's really what the Coordination Hub will be doing. Dr. James also mentioned that the Coordination Hub itself is a partnership of many different institutions. And you can see our institutional affiliations represented here. So my name is Tim Podkel, and I'm part of the Coordination Hub, but employed by SRI International, but my identity is really with the Coordination Hub. And I just wanted to introduce some of my colleagues here. If you could just raise your hand as we go through. Ray McGee from Equal Measure, Leslie Goodyear from EDC, Gary Silverstein from WestApp, Terry Aki from ORS Impact, our evaluator, Ivory Tolson from QEM Network, and Patty Shank is representing Digital Promise. And then we also have our partner, the Constellation Center for Equity and Computing at Georgia Tech. And unfortunately, Kamau couldn't be here. He couldn't get out of his trip to Uganda where he's doing some work over there. Now I'd like to let Gary.
Good morning. Now that you've met the co-PRs of the Coordination Hub, I'd like to introduce you to the rest of the team. I want to start by saying that working as part of this team has been a powerful, educational, collaborative, and inspiring experience for me. Thank you. Like I said, very collaborative. Like any good alliance, the organizations that comprise the Hub have come together to help the national network accomplish something bold and lasting. Each of these organizations has a long history of working with programs that focus on broadening participation in STEM. I'm going to say a bit about each organization, and I'd like each member of the team who is here today to stand when I call out your organization, and please remain standing. Starting with SRI. SRI brings expertise in collaborative infrastructure, educational research, and was an NSF Includes conference grantee. The Educational Development Center. In addition to expertise in STEM education, evaluation, and research, EDC brings experience in developing and facilitating communities of practice and networks through online communities and technical assistance. I also want to note that EDC was the lead on the original NSF Includes TA contract. Equal Measure brings expertise in collaborative infrastructure and experience supporting initiatives that are designed to support diversity, equity, and inclusion. They also have considerable expertise supporting efforts to build and enhance networks, and they were also a partner in the original TA contract. The Quality Education for Minorities Network has long supported MSIs, HBCUs, and tribal colleges, and has conducted extensive research on broadening participation in STEM. And QEM was also one of the NSF Includes original design and development launch pilots. WestAT, the organization that I represent, has deep experience in designing and implementing shared measurement systems for STEM broadening initiatives. We also have conducted evaluations of STEM educational programs and have conducted TA in a variety of educational settings. We were also one of the partners in the original NSF Includes TA contract. Digital Promise engages networks of educators in the K-12 space and expertise at disseminating findings from research in broadening, reaching, and easy-to-understand material to support practitioners. The Georgia Tech Constellation Center, which is not here in attendance today, has deep experience in operationalizing the collective impact framework as a guiding principle for the larger STEM education and broadening participation community. And finally, ORS Impact is our evaluator, and they bring expertise in evaluating collective impact projects with an equity focus.
All right, thank you, Gary, for introducing the team. I'm going to talk a little bit about what the role of the Coordination Hub is. As someone who was a part of the original Design, Development, and Launch pilot series and also a grantee for a conference proposal, I know firsthand how there's a desire to do more with the project that you have. We all have our individual projects and we work with our individual constituents, but the idea of Includes is to connect us all into to the philosophy that the sum total is greater than the sum of the parts. Dr. James showed you all the map and showed you all the representations of projects that's been funded through Includes. But beyond the dots, something that's very important to look at is the lines connecting all of the dots, and to think about the possibility that we can do a lot more if we work in a collaborative method, if we understood what each other are doing, and really think about the communities that we could help and the industries that we can grow if we use this collective impact framework. So with that, the Coordination Hub has several different roles. The first one is to strengthen the common vision among those working to improve equity and inclusion in STEM. And so all of us here are here to get to know each other better and to really understand what our common vision is, and a greater vision than what was on our individual proposals. The second is to broker connections among NSF Includes network members and across the sectors. The third goal is to measure progress and influence across the NSF Includes network. All of us have our own evaluation plans, and all of us have a good idea of what our project is doing to meet its goals and deliverables. But it's our role as a hub to look at our collective progress and to look at the shared measures that we have and to see how the collective impact of our progress is moving our nation forward in the direction that we know that we have the potential to go. The next is to promote success of the Includes network members and elevate expertise by supporting learning, action, scale, and sustainability. So it's our role as the hub to really understand what we're doing well and to amplify that success. All of us have been assigned to different alliances. We all join alliance conference calls and understand what alliances are doing, as well as design development and launch pilots and other projects across the Includes network. And we try to look for the success in these projects and amplify that so that we all understand what we're doing well. And finally, our role is to advance the field by sharing discoveries, facilitating engagement, and catalyzing action that improves STEM inclusion and equity. So we really want to move our nation forward. We know that there's a lot of people in this nation that has been shut out of our success. There are people who should be represented in the STEM workforce who's not because of any things that deficient about them, but because they haven't been able to gain the type of opportunities that they need to excel. And so through this hub and through this collective effort, we can really advance the field. We can see what works, we can understand where the success lies, we can amplify success, and we can have a common goal and vision that can really bring us forward. So next I'm going to bring up Ray, who's going to talk more detail about the Includes National Network.
Thank you, Andre. As you can see, this is an ambitious goal that we have taken on. And in many ways, there is a lot of trepidation because we're really pushing the envelope here, and we cannot do it without you. And this slide kind of represents a bit of the connections and the entities that are involved here. The orange dots represents the activities that we hope to be engaging with you in, and the blue dots, I'm sorry, the other way around. Blue dots represent the activities, the orange dots represents everyone in this room, everyone who's a part of the network. Orange dots, oh, I guess I've become colorblind in the last 5 minutes. I think you all get what I'm looking at. The larger dots are the orange dots represents the network. You all, everyone in this room, and others who share this vision to really move the needle with respect to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Hopefully, through this conference, there'll be ways in which we'll be tied together in a social network, strong ties and bonds of trust that allow us to be able to communicate, share lessons learned, and work together to really accomplish this goal. And we're going to need to do that. There's a lot that we can learn from you all, and we want to be able to support the learning that goes on throughout this network. This convening represents one aspect of that, and we'll be talking more about how we hope to encourage learning and information sharing that we can leverage for success. It's been mentioned already about the design and development launch pilots. A critical component of Includes has been the work done by the DDLPs. They were involved in experimentation and innovation, and many of those DDLPs connected with alliances in the competition, representing the 5 alliances that have been constituted already and awarded. We're really excited about the competition that it has ended with the solicitation in April for new alliances that will become a part of our network. We can't wait to see what bubbles up in terms of innovation and expertise to really promote an agenda of transformation around STEM inclusion. And so we really thank the alliances. Please be sure to connect with them. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to interact with them, to see how you might collaborate with them. The new alliances will be coming on board, and our job will be to help broker those connections so that you can enter in and be able to use your expertise for the challenges that we face around diversity, equity, and inclusion in STEM. I'm now going to pass the baton to my colleague Leslie, who will talk a little bit more about our world.
Thank you, Ray. So, thinking about getting together, we're all here in person, but we can all be together in a virtual space in the online community. How many of you are already members of our Includes online community? Woohoo! Great. I want all of you to be members by the time we leave here tomorrow. And so this is our beautiful new website. If you guys were members of our online community before, when we were the TA team, you know that it was just an online community. Now we have a website, we have blogs, we have a Twitter feed, we have lots of ways you can connect, and when you go to our website, you're going to see in that upper right-hand corner where it says Community Guidelines, and there's Kate's picture right there. That's Kate logged on when she took the screenshot of this. You will join and you can sign in there, and that'll take you into the online community where you can connect. You can find all the resources that we've ever brought to any meeting or developed or shared that were from the TA team. They've all been ported over to our new online community. You can find all of those there. You can even suggest resources that get uploaded yourself. You can constitute and connect with affinity groups online. You can do everything that you're doing in person here in a virtual world in our online community. And as Ray said, with the new alliances coming on board, they're not going to get an immediate first meeting with all of you. So once they're on board and announced, we'll be incorporating them into the online community. You'll be meeting them there. Every time we do a webinar or a web chat, you're going to be able to find those materials in our online community afterwards. I'm looking at Kate. Everything from this meeting is going to be archived in the online community. So if you think to yourself, I love that presentation that was given in that affinity group, or I want to know who was part of that, you'll be able to go to the online community and find it. Maybe not tomorrow, since we're still here, but definitely after. In fact, we're actually going to be posting in the online community while we're here. We're going to be posting on Twitter. We're going to be using our hashtag that Tim mentioned before of NSF includes a convening, and using that on Twitter. So we really want you all to use the online world as well as the in-person world to ask a question and share a story and share a resource. Say, hey, I read an article that I think your alliance is going to want to know about. Or, hey, I read your article. Boy, that was great. Can we talk more about it? Connect with other people. You guys all host events. We can't even keep up sometimes with all the events that are going on. There's a calendar in our online community. You'll be able to put your events in the online community. And you can follow us on Twitter and post all the photos you want from here and share with all the people who are in your networks. It's expanding really rapidly. We're really excited to see that. And our network is expanding rapidly. So I am the infomercial section of the presentation, which is www.includesnetwork.org. That's www.includenetwork.org. I feel like I should say operators are standing by to take your membership information. But you'll want to join, and you'll want to be a part of our affinity groups. As you guys know, they're happening this afternoon. We have affinity groups this afternoon that we've coordinated already based on your input. We gathered so much input in preparation for this meeting. So we have affinity groups from before that we looked at, and we looked through all our resources that were generated from the TA team's affinity groups that were happening with the DDLPs. We pulled in more information from you all. We developed these affinity groups that'll happen this afternoon. Those are kind of like, if you think of a sourdough, those are the affinity group starter that are going to become a great bread later. So they're the starter affinity groups this afternoon. Tomorrow we have emerging affinity groups that you'll be able to decide what are those topics of your own. We've got a few in mind, but if you say, we really want an affinity group around X, we want to talk about broadening participation in South Dakota, which was not represented on the map yet, of broadening participation. You can do that tomorrow in an emerging affinity group. So make sure to use, like we've mentioned before, and like Sylvia mentioned, all of the opportunities here to connect. And don't forget that you're going to walk out of here at the end of tomorrow with the opportunity to stay connected in the online community and to get email announcements of things that are happening and to join the community there. So, as I end this and set up for our next big thing, I'm going to bring Kia Anderson and Kate Goddard to the stage to start our network.